So guys, something very disturbing is happening in Lagos State right now. Streets named after Igbo legends are being renamed. For example, Charlie Boy Street is now renamed to Olamido Bade Street. And this is something that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been telling us a long time ago that is going to happen. Now today it's happening in our very own eyes. And I don't know if this is a cultural cleansing or just politics as usual. So guys, I'm going to be breaking it down. Just stay tuned. I want to remind you guys of those statements made by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He said they will erase your history to tell you you don't belong. Now, according to what he said there, let us link it to what is happening in Lagos State right now. You can see that everything Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying has started coming to pass, right? Now, we've been hearing so many things that they're still renaming Igbo legends' name towards Yoruba people. Example, this Charlie Boy Street has now been renamed to Olamide Bade Street. This is not the first time. According to reports we've been hearing, they say that it has been happening quietly, and this is not the first time it has been happening. So renamings were done quietly, others are announced loudly. Now this creates suspicion about a deliberate agenda targeting one ethnic group. You know why these things matters to the Igbos? Streets honor history, sacrifice and contribution to Lagos. Many of our Igbo people have contributed a lot to Lagos, and now all of a sudden they want to just rename their name just like that. Removing them feels like erasing their Igbo footprint from the city. And this is actually the psychological effect. You don't belong here no matter what you build. That's what they're trying to tell us. That Igbo people don't belong in Lagos State no matter the contribution or what they have built. And it's actually so bad. Yes. In so many social media reactions concerning all this, a Twitter user said, "They are wiping us out of Lagos history step by step." And an Instagram user said, "Today is street names, tomorrow is market and land." And a Yoruba netizen responded, "Lagos is Yoruba land, respect our heritage." You can imagine. Tomorrow now, today they're still renaming street. Tomorrow night it will be that tomorrow it will be market and land. By that time now they will start struggling land with Igbo people and start struggling market with Igbo people. And this is very, very bad. This is actually going to bring a psychological effect, in the sense that people will be feeling that all their achievements in Lagos State are now fumbling in their own eyes. Now, does this prove Nnamdi Kanu's right? This is what the question is. For many, this incident boosts his credibility. His warnings about cultural erasure are now being seen as prophecy. Would this reignite calls for his release and strengthen IPOB narrative? That is the question. That is the question. People are now saying that what is happening in Lagos now, does it really show that what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said is not coming to pass? Because that is what many people are asking. Because according to what it is now, the prophecy of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that they are going to erase Igbos is actually coming to pass in Lagos State. Now, let's take a look at the historical roots of Igbo contributions in Lagos. Igbo traders built entire commercial hubs like Alaba International, and many Igbo names on streets were acknowledgement of decades of contribution towards Lagos growth. Removing these names erased a shared history between Igbo and Lagosians. Now, is this a retaliation or rebranding? That is the question. Some argue it's part of a larger Lagos rebranding campaign. Others see it as a subtle retaliation after the election ethnic clashes. The intent behind the policy is what makes this controversial. Why names matter? Street names are not just labels, they are memory keepers. Maybe now this Charlie Boy, maybe he have been in Lagos for like so many years, and maybe he has contributed in a lot of things in Lagos. Maybe even followed in people that built that particular city. And now all of a sudden the Yorubas are coming out to rename his name, putting there Olamide Bade. So why? This is someone that has contributed a lot, to Lagos. All of a sudden, they want to try to rename his name. This is actually unacceptable. So people have been asking, does this name really matter? Yes, it matters, and this is why it matters. Street names are not just labels; they are memory keepers. Changing them alters what future generations will remember about Lagos. Who gets to decide which history will survive? Now, the pattern or coincidence, are only Igbo name streets being targeted? Or are there other renamings involving Hausa, Yoruba, or foreign names? If the pattern shows Igbo names specifically, it strengthens the accusation of discrimination. Now, fear of displacement. For many Igbos, this feels like the first step to push them out of Lagos. Renaming, land seizures, and political intimidation creates a climate of fear. Could this lead to a mass Igbo exodus from Lagos? And now it is not clear to us, like this is not happening in our very own eyes, that what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told us long time ago is not coming to pass. And I feel bad for the Igbos. I feel bad for the Igbos, and I keep saying this particular thing. I feel that the Igbos should actually, come back to their own state and try to build whatever they are building in Igbo. Because, like, if you go to Lagos, it's just like you achieving nothing. You guys have seen what the Yorubas are doing to us. They're not trying to, chase us away. After all our achievements, after everything we've given to Lagos, everything we've built, they're not trying to tell us that we've not accomplished anything, thereby trying to rename our name to giving it to Yoruba people. This is totally bad. Now, national unity is at risk in this particular time. In this particular thing now, national unity is at risk. Nigeria is already divided along what ethnic and what regional lines. Actions like this deepen mistrust and weaken what national cohesion. If Lagos, the suspected center of commerce, becomes ethnically exclusive, what message does it send to the rest of the country? That is it. What message? Now, this thing now means that national unity is at risk, because Igbos now would not be friendly to Lagos people again, because they feel that Lagos is their enemy. They are trying to chase them away, or they're trying to tell them to leave their their state for them, which is actually bad. So Nigeria is already divided along ethnic and regional lines, because what is going on now? They're doing what ethnic and what regional lines. So Nigeria is actually going to what is actually divided. Not even is going to divide. It's actually what divided, because we found out that other people don't like Igbos, and some people still don't like the Yorubas. Now, international perspective of all these things. If the story spreads globally, it paints Lagos as a city of ethnic intolerance, and it can also affect foreign investment and Nigeria's image as a diverse commercial hub. Now, religious and cultural balance. Lagos has always been a melting pot of cultures and regions. Street names reflect that mix. By narrowing it to one ethnic identity, Lagos loses its cosmopolitan character. Now, what happens next? Will more Igbo named streets be faced the same fate? Because as the way things are going, people are saying that for the fact that they're renaming street already, it means that they will soon start what? They will soon start with markets next. Market will not be their next thing. So the question here is, will more Igbo named streets face the same fate? Could this trigger political and legal battles? How would the Lagos government respond to this backlash? Now, Nnamdi Kanu's message to the world. I want you guys to listen carefully. And before that, please, I want you guys to type in the comment section, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is our prophet, because everything he has been saying has been coming to pass on his prophecy. So please type Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is our prophet, and also free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he's an innocent man. Everything he has been saying about everything, all his prophecy has said was coming to pass. So guys, let's continue. So this is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message to the world. This is something he warned us about, and now in our very own eyes it is happening before us, and like people are even wowed. Now he said, if he warned about this, what other things his message might come through? Because people are now beginning to wonder, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu really warned about the renaming of Igbos, the renaming of the names of Igbos to Lagos people, like, who knows how many of his prophecy will come to pass? We've had series of prophecies coming from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that came to pass. Do you guys remember when he said that Fulani is going to take over Benue State? That is exactly what happened, right? And there were so many attacks that went on in Benue State that killed thousands of people in Benue State. That is one of his prophecies that came to pass. Now, his detention suddenly looks more political than ever. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's sudden detention looks more political than ever. For Igbos supporters, this is evidence of what they have been saying for so many years. This is an evidence of what the Igbos supporters, they have been saying for so many years. This is just a full evidence. So guys, let's go on. Now, the emotional connections to street names. For many families, these streets carry the legacy of ancestors who built Lagos. So changing the names feels like erasing generation of struggles and sources. It's not just politics, it's personal to the people who live there. The economic impact on property value. Street names tied to famous personalities often boost real estate value. Renaming them suddenly can create confusion, affect business branding, and reduce property worth in those areas. But they don't think about that part. They're only just to let it be that it's their brother that is answering the name of that street. It's so bad. Now, possible divide and rule politics. Some analysts believe the policy might be designed to spark ethnic tension. When groups fight each other, political elites maintain control without facing accountability. Is this part of a larger strategy to keep Lagos political world divided? Now, the silence of the Lagos government, lack of clear communication makes it even look suspicious because the Lagos government is not even saying anything about it. Now, transparency would have calmed fears. Secrecy fuels what conspiracy was theories. Why isn't there an official list of renamed streets available to the public? Now, Igbo response and strategy. This may be Igbo people's response. Will Igbo leaders in Lagos challenge this legally? Should Igbo organizations document and preserve historical Igbo name streets before they vanish? What's the plan to protect Igbo legacy in Lagos? Now, this is now going to be Yoruba perspective. So Yoruba groups argue it's about reclaiming what Lagos heritage. I've seen a lot of people coming out to say that we are trying to reclaim Lagos heritage. So you're trying to reclaim Lagos heritage and you're forgotten about people who contributed a lot to that same Lagos state. You're trying to protect their heritage, or you're trying to reclaim their heritage. You're forgotten people who contributed a whole lot to that. And all of a sudden, Yoruba people are coming to tell us that they are just trying to, reclaim their Lagos heritage. This is actually very bad. They see it as restoring indigenous names and not targeting what Igbos. That's what the Yoruba see it as. This angle creates a debate on what indigenous ownership means in a modern mega city. Now, linked to market demolitions, there have been demolitions of market dominated by Igbos in Lagos. Combining this with street renaming paints a picture of systematic displacement. Is it coincidence or a coordinated urban restructuring? Now, these are the youth reaction based on this. Many young Nigerians, both Igbo and Yoruba, see this as backward of politics. Social media youth movements are calling for inclusivity, not division. This could spark a new wave of ethnic conscience activism online. That is just it. So, historical parallel. Compare with past incidents where regimes erase names or cultural markers to assert dominance. For example, colonial powers often rename towns to weaken local identity. Is Lagos repeating a colonial tactic internally? Now, the big question is, who owns Lagos? That is the big question I've been wanting to ask you guys. Who owns Lagos? This debate always resurfaces. Is Lagos a Yoruba city or is it a Nigerian city that belongs to everyone? Because I've heard several cases whereby they say Lagos is a no man's land, meaning nobody owns the land. So how come that they're saying that Lagos is a no man's land and they're trying to tell us now that the Yoruba people are supposed to reclaim their heritage? I don't understand. Is Lagos a Yoruba state or what? This is the big question here. The street renaming controversy throws this question back into the spotlight. So guys, I want you guys also tell me your comments below based on what is happening. Do you think the fact that they're trying to rename Igbo people, rename Igbo people's name to Yoruba name, do you think it's actually fair? Because I've heard several cases where someone tells me that Lagos is a no man's land. So what is going on? The Yoruba is not claiming that Lagos is their own. So guys, please drop your comment below, and also if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share, turn on the notification button to be getting all the latest news in this channel. So guys, thanks for watching and see you guys again in my next video.